The phone call sliced through the gray haze of a Wednesday morning, the kind where the world felt suspended in unspilled rain. Nora Delaney, 29, sat at her cluttered desk in a mid-tier accounting firm, the bitter aftertaste of coffee lingering on her tongue and a stray post-it note stuck to her sleeve from the morning's chaos. She just collapsed into her creaky chair, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, when her phone lit up with an unfamiliar number. No caller ID, no hint of its weight. Instinct nudged her to answer. "Hello?" she ventured, her voice soft, but cautious. "Is this Nora Delaney?" A crisp male voice responded. "Yes." She hesitated, her grip tightening on the phone. "This is Charles with Liberty National Bank. We're calling regarding your mortgage balance of $523,000. We've sent several notices. I don't have a mortgage," Nora cut, in her voice sharpening despite her intent. "You must have the wrong person." A pause crackled through the line, heavy with implication. "Ma'am, the file we're reviewing shows your name, date of birth, and social security number. You're listed as the primary borrower. The loan was opened 3 years ago." 3 years. Nora's mind stalled, the air thinning around her. That was the year her younger sister, Malene, had begun her relentless campaign to buy a house. A fresh start, she'd called it, her voice brimming with dreams. Nora could still picture Malene sprawled across the dinner table, waving, Pinterest photos of wraparound porches and finished basements, laughing off her abysmal credit score, like it was a charming flaw. Their mother, Marianne, had nodded sagely. "We'll figure something out. Family always finds a way. But not this way." Nora ended the call with a polite mumble, her hands trembling as she stared at the gray cubicle wall. The hum of her laptop fan filled the void, a mocking rhythm against the chaos unfurling inside her. Her palms grew damp, her mouth dry. She clung to the hope of a mistake, a typo, a mix-up with another Nora Delaney in this sprawling state. But her gut, that quiet voice she'd silenced for years, roared with dread. That evening, Nora ransacked the drawer beside her bed, a frantic dig through yellowed pay stubs, faded birthday cards, and forgotten letters. Her fingers brushed a crumpled flyer from Liberty National, discarded months ago as junk mail. Now it felt like a warning she'd been too blind to heed. She sank to the worn carpet of her cramped apartment, surrounded by a blizzard of envelopes and loose sheets. Her life, laid bare in fragments. She owned no property, no car loan, no joint accounts. Her finances were a deliberate fortress of simplicity, a shield against the unpredictability she'd grown up with. And yet, someone had forged a $523,000 chain around her neck. The realization seeped in like a slow poison. Only one group had her full legal name, social security number, and signature on file: her family. The thought took root before she could uproot it. She recoiled from the idea, but some betrayals don't crash through the door. They slip in silently, turning the lock behind you. Nora didn't sleep that night. She lay in her narrow bed staring at the ceiling's water stains, tracing the same question. If they had asked, would I have said yes? She doubted it. The point wasn't her answer. It was their refusal to ask. By dawn, she abandoned the pretense of a mistake. The pieces aligned too neatly. Malene's dream house, sprawling, impractical, a monument to her whims, had materialized just months before the mortgage date. Malene had been jobless then, her credit a smoldering ruin, but Marianne had waved it off. Malene always finds a way. Apparently, Nora was the way. She hauled open her file cabinet, unearthing relics of a decade's devotion: tax forms, social security copies, insurance policies co-signed when Marianne underwent surgery. There, in her own looping handwriting, were the keys to her identity, handed over piece by piece because she was the responsible one, the fixer, the quiet daughter who never rocked the boat. The imbalance had shadowed her life since childhood, a quiet undercurrent that shaped her every step. Malene would leave her room a disaster, and Marianne would sigh. She's going through a phase. Nora would miss a chore, and it was, "You know better, Nora." At 17, Malene totaled her car, and Daniel grumbled, "That's what insurance is for." At 16, Nora asked for a used laptop to finish her homework, and Marianne countered, "We're not made of money, dear." They didn't hate her. That would have been a cleaner wound. They simply didn't see her as breakable. To them, Nora was the rock, the steady hand, the backup plan. Marianne had once said it with pride, "Nora doesn't need help. She's strong. She figures things out." That was the unspoken deal. Malene basked in grace, Nora endured silence. Now that silence had morphed into a $523,000 lie. Nora recalled the late-night calls when Daniel lost his job, his voice cracking as he begged her to co-sign a loan. The tearful pleas when Malene needed tuition covered, the endless forms she'd filled to keep the family afloat. She'd said yes out of duty, out of a love she'd mistaken for mutual, out of a habit forged in years of being the reliable one. Yes, even when no one asked. Beneath her calm facade, a shift began. Not rage, not vengeance, but a crystalline clarity. She opened her laptop and requested the loan documents from Liberty National. The bank representative's polite efficiency felt like a surreal dance as she emailed the PDF that would fracture her world. When it arrived, Nora stared at the screen, her breath hitching. Page after page bore her name, her birth date, her information, her signature. Except it wasn't hers. It was a near-flawless forgery, cleaner, straighter, confident in a way her hesitant scrawl had never been. Someone had practiced, studied, perhaps traced it. The most chilling revelation? She knew who. Nora didn't lash out. No furious calls, no trembling texts to Malene or her parents. She didn't scream or demand. She began to gather evidence. She sifted through a decade's worth of documents, tax returns, medical authorizations, school loan forms, constructing a silent paper fortress. Each signature, each act of duty, was a thread in the tapestry of their betrayal. She printed credit, reports, identity protection logs, a meticulous list of accounts under her name. The mortgage package from Liberty National anchored it all, legally binding, notarized, stolen. For days, she kept the pile on her kitchen table, sorted into neat stacks like a scholar's project. But this wasn't academia. This was survival. Coworker, Sloane, a sharp-eyed woman with a knack for noticing the unnoticed, caught Nora's distraction. During lunch, she pulled her aside. "You look like you're holding your breath," Sloane said, her voice laced with concern. Nora unspooled the tale, her voice raw, her hands unsteady. Sloane didn't offer empty comfort. She fished out her phone and said, "Call this guy. He's smart, unflinching with family messes." That led Nora to Mr. Whitaker, an ex-military lawyer with a voice like worn leather and an aura of unyielding focus. They met at a cramped cafe 3 blocks from her apartment. No receptionist, no lobby, just him, a legal pad, and black coffee. He rifled through her stack in silence, then closed the folder and locked eyes with her. "You understand what this is, right?" he asked, his tone measured. "I think so," Nora replied, her throat tightening. "Fraud and identity theft," he clarified. "At minimum." The words hit like a physical blow. "I don't want to destroy them," she said. "I just want this undone." "You're not destroying anyone," Whitaker countered. "You're reclaiming what's yours." He mapped the path. File a police report, notify the bank, dispute the mortgage legally, press charges if needed. "It'll be long," he warned, "and it'll burn any bridge left." Nora mulled over burn, a word that implied a bridge still standing, though she'd been solitary for years. At home, Nora unearthed an old birthday card from a box untouched since her move. Marianne's loopy script greeted her. "Happy 28th to... our steady one. We don't say it enough, but you've always been our rock. Our backup plan. We're so lucky to have you." It had been meant as affection, a mother's praise. Now it read like a damning admission. They'd cast her as reliable, strong, quiet, so quiet they assumed she'd never refuse. But she was done being their crutch, their fallback when all else crumbled. Now she forged her own path. Sunday loomed too fast. Nora stood before her parents' house, the white shutters peeling, the driveway fissured, clutching a folder in her purse like a live wire. She'd avoided them all week since the documents landed, since Whitaker confirmed the crime. Still, she knocked. The door flew open. Marianne beamed. "Nora, sweetheart, I was just pulling the roast out," she chirped, oblivious. Nora stepped into the lemon cleaner and onion-scented haven, now a cage. Malene sprawled on the couch, phone in hand, an empty wine glass at her elbow. Daniel lounged in his recliner, eyes on a football game, the world unchanged in his mind. Dinner was pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans with an overdose of garlic. Marianne chattered. Malene griped about her HOA. Daniel grunted at the TV. Nora waited, her fork a silent sentinel, her pulse a drum. After the dishes, she spoke. "Hey, quick question." 3 pairs of eyes swiveled to her. Mild curiosity, no alarm, just another of Nora's practical queries. "Does anyone know about a mortgage with my name on it?" Silence crashed, thick and oppressive. Malene's shoulders stiffened. Marianne's smile petrified. Daniel cleared his throat. Nora held steady, unblinking. Finally, Marianne spoke, her voice a soothing balm over a wound. "Oh, honey, that's just paperwork. Malene needed help qualifying. It's not like you're paying, it's family." Malene chimed in, eyes glued to the table. "You have good credit, I don't. It's not fair if you won't help. Not fair." As if Nora's question was the offense, as if this was routine. She studied them, the mother who'd raised her, the sister she'd shielded from nightmares, the father who'd dubbed her his calm. They saw no wrong, only expectation. Nora nodded, slow and neutral. "Thanks for explaining," she said, voice low. Malene relaxed, diving back into her phone. Daniel grabbed the remote. Marianne sighed, relieved, a storm averted. They saw the same Nora, quiet, safe, but she hadn't come to fight. She'd come to listen, to offer a chance, and they'd squandered it to defend the lie. Monday morning, Nora filed the police report. The officer, a weary man with eyes that had seen too many family betrayals, paged through her folder with Whitaker's guidance, his brow knitting. "You're sure you want to move forward?" he asked, not doubting, but cautious. "If I don't," Nora said, "they'll just keep doing it." He nodded, stamped the papers. It was done. That afternoon, she mailed a certified letter to Liberty National, police report, dispute notice, ID copies. The clerk slid it into the tray like routine mail, but to Nora, it was a severance, a quiet boundary etched in ink. She gave no warning. No heated calls, no showdown, just silence. 3 days stretched to 5, then a week. No messages, just a gnawing wait for the inevitable break. Friday night, post-sunset, a knock jolted her. Through the peephole, Marianne stood, wrapped in her finest coat, her face a mask of fury and fear. Nora opened the door but didn't yield. "How could you?" Marianne hissed, barging in. "How dare you go to the police?" Nora held her silence, a fortress. "I trusted you to understand." Marianne pressed. Malene needed help. Family sticks together. "No," Nora said, her voice a steady blade. "Family asks. They don't steal." Marianne flinched, the calm cutting deeper. "You've ruined everything," she snapped. "Do you know how this looks?" Nora stifled a laugh. "I didn't ruin anything," she replied. "I stopped pretending it wasn't broken." Marianne opened her mouth to retort, but Nora shut the door, the latch's soft click reverberating like a thunderclap. In her mind, Malene barraged her with 12 calls, leaving 4 voicemails, each a crescendo of rage. Nora deleted them unheard. The next morning, an email from Liberty National landed. "We have suspended the mortgage loan pending further investigation." An apology followed, with promises to scrutinize notary records and signatures. Her credit bore scars, but the unraveling had started. She called Whitaker. "They're taking it seriously," she said. "They usually do," he replied, "when people show the truth instead of yelling." He was right. She hadn't raged or pleaded. She'd stood firm, letting facts speak. In the weeks that followed, silence thickened. No texts, no invites, no guilt-soaked pleas to be grateful. They didn't seek repair. They craved the Nora who always acquiesced. But she was gone. Nora reclaimed her weekends, strolls to the farmer's market, fresh flowers for her table, quiet hours with a novel. She sought no revenge, just distance and peace. For the first time, she tasted both. Spring tiptoed in, trees unfurling in soft pinks and yellows, the world renewing itself despite Nora's readiness. She kept her focus, signing Whitaker's documents, monitoring her credit like a skeptical meteorologist. The case lingered, the damage persisted, but a stillness settled within her. She ventured into pottery at the community center, her hands clumsy with clay. One morning, she manned a booth at an artisan fair, surrounded by her lopsided mugs and bowls. A woman lifted a piece labeled Reclamation. Off-center, smooth in patches, flawed yet whole. Why that name? The woman asked. Nora shrugged. Because it wasn't meant to exist, but it does. The woman smiled, paid in cash, and left. That night, Nora sat on her balcony with tea, enveloped in the first true quiet she'd earned. Not the neglect of being overlooked, but the freedom of being unclaimed. Then she spotted them, Marianne, Daniel, and Malene at the parking lot's edge, hesitant, diminished. Malene's makeup was smeared, Daniel's shirt untucked, Marianne clutching her purse like a lifeline. Nora descended slowly, unhurried, unhidden. Nora, Marianne began, voice quivering. We made mistakes, but we're still family. Malene stepped forward. I just need help, just for a while. Please don't shut us out. No fire flared in Nora now, no anger, just a profound, still quiet. She knew their presence stemmed from need, not love. She set her bag down and met their gazes, truly seeing. I hope, she said deliberately, you'll one day grasp what real family means. It's not stolen, faked, or demanded when convenient. She drew a manila envelope from her coat, handing to Marianne. Inside lay the forged mortgage document. Her name, their signatures, a bold void stamp. Tucked behind it was the birthday card. You've always been our backup plan. I'm not angry, Nora said. Not anymore. Marianne's hands trembled as she opened it. I'm finally free, Nora added, and I'm not coming back. She turned, her footsteps a weighted rhythm on the stairs. At the landing, she paused. The wind tugged her coat. The sun dipping, casting long shadows. She whispered to herself, sometimes walking away is the loudest statement, and meant it. At 16, Nora wove the first thread of her bondage. In a grimy garage reeking of oil, she co-signed a loan for Daniel's car repair after his job loss. Marianne's tears had pleaded, We're sinking, Nora, you're our steady one. Her hand shook as she signed, unaware it was the beginning of a decade-long web. Months later, Malene's world collapsed. Her house, Nora's stolen burden, was foreclosed, her social media shifting from boasts to desperate pleas. A blocked call came. Malene's voice slurred, begging for cash. Nora hung up, her silence a shield. Whitaker called with victory. The mortgage was voided, the notary charged with fraud. Nora's credit began its slow recovery, a quiet mending. She felt no elation, just relief, a silent reclamation. Sloan became Nora's rock, their coffee dates a lifeline. You're not their backup anymore, Sloan said. What's next? Nora smiled, envisioning pottery, travel, a life solely hers. Nora's pottery deepened, her booth at fairs a testament to resilience. She shaped bowls with unsteady hands, each imperfection a badge of survival. Customers marveled at reclamation, and she sold piece after piece, her confidence growing. The studio became her sanctuary, the kiln's hum a lullaby of self-worth. Daniel lost another job, his pride crumbling. Marianne clung to denial, hosting hollow dinners. Malene's spending spiraled, designer bags, lavish trips, until the foreclosure hit. They blamed Nora, their whispers a bitter echo in her absence. Whitaker guided Nora through bank investigations, notary interrogations, and credit disputes. Each meeting drained her, but his steady presence bolstered her. The emotional toll weighed, heavy, nights of doubt, days of resolve. Yet she pressed on, flashbacks haunted Nora. Maline's favoritism at birthday parties, Nora's chores while Maline played. The laptop she never got, the car repairs she funded. Each memory fueled her resolve, a quiet rebellion against years of invisibility. Nora volunteered at the library, forging bonds with strangers who saw her. An elderly patron, Mrs. Hargrove, praised her pottery, igniting a friendship. These ties grounded her, a family of choice replacing the one she'd lost. The final hearing arrived, a sterile room where Nora faced the notary's confession. Her family was absent, their silence. A final severance. Whitaker's nod affirmed her victory, the gavel's fall a liberation she'd earned. Nora planned a trip to Colorado, her camera capturing mountains, her pottery gaining fame. She enrolled in a photography course, her dreams blooming. Each step was hers, untainted by duty. A letter from Marianne arrived, shaky script confessing regret. "We failed you, Nora. I hope you find peace." Nora kept it, a relic of closure. She didn't reply, her silence a final gift to herself. A year later, Nora stood on a Colorado cliff, her pottery studio below humming. The sunrise painted the sky, and she felt unclaimed, free. The family had faded, their calls ignored. She whispered, "Some debts are paid in silence," and turned to her future.